Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. It is a solo pod edition here today, and Dan will be rejoining us for the next podcast, but he is off tonight, getting a well-deserved night off. And Dan did want me to let you all know in advance, play Fun plus Phoenix. That's the name to say that 10 times fast. But it is a solo pod edition here today. Welcome to the ESL Pro League Season 13 playoffs for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. We have our playoff teams. We know who's facing who now, and we know the teams playing each other in the play-ins, and the play-ins are going to happen next week. So, first thing I want to talk about here is let's talk a little bit about the playoffs. So we're going to start off here with round 1, Furia versus Fun plus Phoenix, G2 versus Liquid, Complexity versus Na'Vi, and Virtus Pro versus Ents. Winners of those matches are going to go on to face each other on Sunday. Losers are eliminated. This is a single game elimination, playoff style. And the play-in games, we know who the 4 winners of the groups are. And they are going to go up and face each other. So the winner of Group A, Heroic, are going to face the winner of Group B, the Ninjas in Pajamas. Group C winner, Gambit, is going to take on the Group D winner, Astralis. That is going to be a ton of fun. Let's talk about the playoffs here real quick. I'm going to give you guys my predictions on how I think this is going to go, and my prediction for who I think is going to win ESL Pro League Season 13 for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I have Furia defeating Fun plus Phoenix. I have Team Liquid defeating G2. I have Complexity beating Na'Vi and Virtus Pro beating Ents. This is kind of tough. You know what? I have Team Liquid defeating Furia to advance to the quarterfinals to play the loser of the play-in stage, either Gambit or Astralis. And I have Virtus Pro defeating Complexity. No offense to Complexity. Virtus Pro is playing on another level right now. I have Virtus Pro heading on to play the loser of the first play of one of the other play-ins, Heroic or NIP. Getting on, before we could talk about the quarters, we have to talk about the play-in stage. Heroic versus NIP, I think, is going to be a very interesting matchup. We saw Heroic run the table in their group the same way Gambit did. I think Heroic beat NIP and advanced to the semis. NIP will go to the quarter to play Team Liquid, where I'm going to pick Team Liquid to defeat NIP in the quarterfinals. The second play-in stage, Gambit versus Astralis. This is probably one of the toughest games to call, but with the way Gambit have looked, I'm going to take the upset, and I'm going to take Gambit over Astralis. So I have Gambit advancing to the semifinals, and I have Astralis advancing to the quarterfinals, where I have Astralis defeating. You know what? No, I'm going to have Astralis defeat. This is tough. Just like Gambit Astralis, you have Virtus Pro Astralis, right? This is very difficult. But I'm going to pick Astralis over Virtus Pro. Yeah, I'm going to pick Astralis over Virtus Pro. Semifinal matchup first, Heroic versus Team Liquid. I have Heroic defeating Team Liquid and advancing to the grand final. Well, I pick, my apologies everybody. I pick Heroic to defeat Team Liquid in the semifinals and advance to the grand final. Astralis versus Gambit. It's like we just saw this matchup. I'm going to say the Danes end up, they figure out Gambit. I have the Danes and Astralis defeating Gambit, advancing to the grand final. Grand final, Heroic versus Astralis. See, this is the problem when my favorite team is Heroic, and I'm rooting for Heroic to win. I think the grand final being a best of 5, I think favors Astralis. Don't forget, Heroic is still incorporating Shush and Refresh into their lineup. Astralis have looked really, really good. Again, can disappear at times, but Astralis look good. But you know what? Nah. I'm picking Heroic to defeat Astralis, and I think that could go all 5 games. Don't forget, so every single game in the playoffs is a best of 3, with the exception of the grand final, which was a best of 5. And I believe neither team have an advantage in that. Some grand finals you get, like the winner of the upper bracket getting like a 1-map advantage. Well, no, I don't think we're going to see that here. Actually, go back here to Wikipedia. I'll tell you. Let's say go up here. Yep, grand final is a best of 5. It doesn't say anything about an advantage. Oh man, with that being said, got $175,000 up for first place with 1,300 ESL Pro League Pro Tour points and a spot in the Blast Premier Global Final and 2,800 Blast points. Blast is right around the corner. That is one of the next events on the docket. So the next event we got here after the playoffs is the Blast Premier Spring Showdown. We will get into that in a couple of weeks. As we always do here in the podcast, we're going to review the winning lineup of the previous large field GPP, continue helping to make us all better DFS players. The winning lineup was, again, I know it was a little bit more of a unique lineup, and it was a very unique day. It was a 3-1-1-1 lineup. Yeah, 3-1-1-1 lineup. So we had Captain Flames with Crucial and Robin. So again, the 3 best players from Endpoint. No disrespect to anyone else. Those are the best 3. Well, their scores don't look crazy. It's the other 3 they put with it as one-offs from each game. Actually, it was a little bit interesting because of the runbacks. Device went absolutely ham. He went 52, 6, and 28 with a 4K and a 5K. He had 91 DK points. Yakindar, 59, 15, and 42 with a 4K and a 5K for 92 DK points. Elige was the highest scorer on the slate, I believe. I don't think it was all that close. 64, 9, and 36. 2 4Ks and a 5K. 106.5 DK points. I want to point out something about this lineup as I was doing my research on it. 3 endpoint. Dan and I said this on the pod last time. Endpoint with great leverage against DG. I didn't see all these stealing games coming. Device was a good play. Yakina was a good play. Leash was a good play. Again, you're not really playing runbacks from the other teams, and what we've normally seen, how normally you win a GPP, but anything can happen in Counter-Strike. Take a look here at the second place one. Captain Elige with Device and the same 3, Crucial, Flames, and Robin, scored 9 points less, or roughly 10 points less, than the winning lineup. And Captain Elige had 159.75 DK points. It had NAF. So you needed, again, so this was a 3-2-1. You had the captain paired back with NAF, so it was 2 people from Team Liquid, 1 from Astralis, 3 from Endpoint. You just needed Yakindar. He had 92 points. And even with the captain points you got from Elige, it wasn't enough. So this was an interesting strategy. Congrats to Kamara Chameleon in the solo takedown of $10,000. But definitely, also shout out to the second place here. Nick the Shtick, interesting name, and Mighty McDuck, both tied for second with Captain Elige's. Same lineup, both splitting the second place prize, each of them taking $3,000. That leads us into today's slate. It's a 2-game slate. And I'm going to go over a little bit more strategy on a 2-game slate because up to this point, we've had 3-game slates. On a 2-game slate, I am more inclined to go with a 3-3 combo. What do I mean by that? A 3-3 combo basically means I'm going to pick 3 from one team. Excuse me. I pick 3 from one team, and I'm going to pick 3 from another. No runbacks. Now, if you want to play a runback and go 3-2-1, there's obviously no third team where you can go and have that one-off. Also viable on a 2-game slate because there are not that many players to pick from, and you're going to just have a lot of high ownerships. So, with that being said, let's talk about this slate, shall we? First game on the docket, Fun Plus Phoenix versus Furia. I already said I think Furia win this game. Quite frankly, I think they win this 2-0. So let's talk about the pricing, and I'm going to let you all know I'm looking at the pricing for the first time with you all here on the pod as I do this pod. Quesarado at 9,200, a little expensive. Yuri at 8,200, I like that price tag for him. Art at 7,000, love that price tag for him. I think he can have a great game against Fun Plus Phoenix. Vinny at 6,200 is really good. Junior at 5,400, it's Farley. Like, I'm sorry, he's not Zywoo. Junior is a fantastic value play on this slate. Okay, on the Fun Plus Phoenix side of things, this is where you get your leverage in large field GPPs if you really want to get funky. Fun Plus Phoenix is mostly the old Godsent roster plus Sunny. So if we were just looking at this as Furia versus that old Godsent roster, right? Basically those four players. We are looking heavily at Furia. We're doing the same thing here. They're just on a different team. Okay? Fun Plus Phoenix doesn't really scare me. But with players like Madden, Farley, and Zen, and Sticko, they can do damage. I'm not too concerned about Sunny. Sunny's $4,400. I don't think Sunny's going to do that well. I think he's actually recovering, I think, from a positive COVID test. Or I forget what he had. I remember him saying something about it. I've been seeing some news rumors about Chris J. HLTV confirmed Sticko was on the last one. Highly recommend everyone to go listen to that. I know I want to as well. So, from Fun Plus Phoenix, Madden's probably my favorite play, followed by Farley and Zen, then Sticko. In that order. I just think Madden at 8,000 wants a good price tag for him. It's Furia. I think, again, you have to pick one of Quesarado and Yuri from Furia. Which one you think to go off? I lean slightly Quesarado, just because we've seen him look a little better, but Yuri can go off in any matchup. Like I said, Art at 7,000 is also fantastic. Do not be afraid to play Captain Art. Like I said, Fun Plus Phoenix in tournaments, great spot. Last game here on the slate, Team Liquid versus G2 Esports. Oh boy, Team Liquid versus G2. I think Team Liquid win this 2-1. I think G2 put up a fight. Elise is 9,600. Nico at 9,000. Naf's at 8,600. I'll just go with the Team Liquid guys first. So again, Elise 9,600. Naf's at 8,600. Fallen is at 7,400. Stewie 2K at 6,000. Grim is at 5,200. I find that price tag too cheap for him. Elise is going to go head-to-head with Nico. I think that's going to bump Elise down a bit, which then, in my opinion, gives a little bit of a boost to Naf and Fallen. G2 do not have a dedicated opera. We've been saying this over and over again. They don't have a dedicated opera right now. Nico is a hybrid role between Rifler and Opera. And we've seen Amanek also pick up the op from time to time, especially like when they're double opping. That being said, I think Fallen can exploit that. We know Fallen is the Opera and IGL for Team Liquid. And he didn't have a great showing in the last game, but he looked okay. Let's take a look at the stats here real quick. So we go back here to Fallen. We go over here to the game log, so I can just pull up some of these games. Versus Astralis, he went 47, 13, and 49. He had 56 DK points at 4,600. Versus Endpoint, 37, 17, and 29. For 71 DK points, he had a 1v3 clutch with that as well. That was at 7,000. That's 10x. You'll love to see that. Against EG, 40, 14, and 26 with the two 1v2 clutches. 76 DK points, also at 7,000. The game against Virtus Pro just wasn't good. Excuse me, wasn't good. 20, 12, and 36 for 32 DK points, and he had a 1v2 clutch as well. Didn't look great in that game at all. Again, that was the Elige going off game. I like Fallen here in this spot, especially as a dedicated opera on the other side. Fallen should have a field day against G2, and I think he can cause them fits as well. Naf is from a GPP standpoint, Fallen's my favorite. Overall, Naf is my number one. Fallen 2, Elige 3. But again, I'm not saying fade Elige. I want to factor in the fact of recency bias. I want to factor in he's going up against Nico and Hunter, two high fraggers, and I think that's going to give Elige a little bit of a tough time. and G2 overall are a really good team. It's more for GPPs. In cash, Elise is a great way to go. He's safe. Single entry, Elise, go for it. I don't want to play Grim right now. And I think Stewie is the wild card again. We've seen him go off. We've seen him do absolutely nothing. I will just quickly go through Stewie's DraftKings points. Against Astralis, he had 52 DraftKings points at 5,600. 73 DraftKings points against Endpoint at 6,400. 56 DraftKings points at 5,800. 40 DraftKings points against Virtus Pro at 6,000. Again, that was the Elige going off game. This is cool. I like it. Stewie's a wild card. Stewie's at $6,000. It's the playoffs. I think Stewie 2K is a great. Excuse me. I think Stewie 2K is a great leverage spot for Team Liquid stacks that might just be Elige Naf or Naf Fallen or Elige Fallen or a lot of people that still want to play Grim. And I think Stewie 2K might go overlooked here. And also, if you're entering multiple lineups in a large field GPP, don't be afraid to captain Stewie 2K so you can get some of those more high expensive players. He's only going to cost you $9,000 in the captain, cheaper than Elige in the flex. On the G2 side of things, Nico, $9,000. Jax at $7,800. Hunter is hilariously underpriced at $6,400. Well, not hilariously underpriced, but he's about $2,000 too cheap. And how good he's been playing, he should be in the low $8,000 range. Nexa is $5,600. He is the IGL for G2, and Amanek is at $4,600. I love that price tag for Amanek because he's underpriced. Actually, I don't love it. I like it. The reason I say that is it's Team Liquid. Team Liquid have looked great. If you want to play some Amanek in MMEs and you want to include that, maybe go Nico Amanek. I like that as well. Keep this in mind. Hunter has played better than Nico recently. So Hunter at 6,400, if you're going to stack G2 against Team Liquid, I think Hunter is the one you want to build around, not necessarily Nico. But again, if you're MMEing, you want to build around both Nico and Hunter. Time for our core value GPP segment here on the almost said the slate, the podcast, folks. This is what happens when we get a few days off ESL. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Players earned it, deserved it. Keep this in mind, too, before we get into our core value and GPP segment here on the podcast. There were only a couple games. They're going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Actually, I don't think we got a Sunday game this week, do we? We do. We do get a yes. So, playoffs round 1 and round 2 are going to commence this weekend. The play-ins are going to be on April 8th. Quarterfinals on April 9th. The semifinals on the 10th. And the grand final will be on the 11th. Core value GPP segment here on the podcast. Again, I almost said slate again. Core value GPP. Core, I'm going to say, is Hunter if you're playing G2. If you're playing more of the chalk, I'm going to go... I don't really have one. I think this is more GPPs, so if you're playing G2, it's Hunter. If you're not playing G2, I don't have a core play for you. I have more GPP plays for you than I do cores. It's a 2-game slate. You want to mix things up. Value play on the slate, Junior at 5,400, Grim at 5,200, Stick goes at 5,000, Amanek is at 4,600, and as I've mentioned, Hunter 6,400 is a value play because he's too cheap, and Stewie 2K as well at 6,000. GPP plays. Anyone on the slate. And that's not a cop-out. You have a 2-game slate. You need to take your shots. You need to figure out what fits in the lineups that you all want to construct. Tell the story. If you're going to go 3-3, stand on the teams that you think are going to win. I think Fury and Team Liquid are going to win. If I choose to go 3-3, I'm going to take 3 Fury, 3 Team Liquid. Maybe I go 3 Furia, 1 Team Liquid, 1 G2. Or if I want even more leverage, I go Furia, 3, G2, 2, maybe 1 Team Liquid. Maybe you want to get frisky and go Fun plus Phoenix and fade Furia altogether. It's about the construction that you all want to tell. With that being said, my favorite GPP plays on the slate are Elige, K. Serrato, Naf, Fallen. Jax is a GPP play. Farley is a GPP play. Again, Hunter's too cheap. Junior, GPP play as well. There's no excuse for him being $5,400. And I want to go this as well, Grimm and Amanek. I really like Amanek as a GPP play. My favorite team stack is Furia. And my bold prediction, I don't know how bold this is going to be. G2 upset Team Liquid and defeat Team Liquid. Hunter ends up close to 70 frags over 3 maps. And before I sign off here, let's go take a look at the Counter-Strike odds on Pinnacle. Apologize I didn't do this earlier in the podcast. Let's go here. We're going to go here, Pro League. Furia is a minus 223 favorite against Fun plus Phoenix. Team Liquid is a minus 148 favorite against G2. G2, however, only a plus 122 underdog. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all good luck on this slate. If you have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at AdamWX21. Feel free to tweet me, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you all have for the slate. Please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you all know every time one of these podcasts drops, and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you like, what you don't like about the podcast. All right, everybody. With that being said, Dan is rejoining us for the next podcast. And I wish all of you good luck on the slate. Latest, peoples.